Hello, gorgeous ladies. Femme, Fatale program. So today, I want to thank you so much for your patience and your understanding during this round. For me, it has been a tough one. I've been going through all kinds of crazies, but it's all from a place, I believe, of up-leveling, and all from a place of honoring myself, giving myself goddess time, which in turn I think is good for all of us, because what is good for one is good for the group. So I do want to take the time to really thank you for holding space for me during this time. And I apologize for the rescheduled training. I will be scheduling it back into the program shortly. And we're just going to go right back in with the energies. The first thing we're going to do for my needs and yours is take 3 deep breaths. Thank you, Courtney. That feels good. Okay, so what we're going to dive into today is the dualities of desire. I'm going to go in and I'm going to move the trainings about a little bit, just because I want us to do them in the right order so that we still get the flow of the program. So, oh good, Nikisha says this is her favorite one, and Christina too. So there's so much to say about this training. This is a really charged training. One of the most important things in this training is the word desire. We have all kinds of wants and we have all kinds of needs, but those are very low vibrational things that we experience in our life. A want, a need, it's like a little kid that's not getting what they want. I need it, I want it, I don't have it. It's not a very elevated experience of emotion. A desire, when you desire something, like you imagine that word, you think of desire, it's like you desire a person. It's a much more grown-up emotion. Can I just say, Justina, that you look so sexy tonight? I just can't quite handle it. Gorgeous, gorgeous woman. Okay. So in the dualities of desire, it means that we have all the wants and all the needs. So when I talk to you about this duality here tonight, I'm not just talking about only men want this and women don't. I'm talking in the depth of our soul, what sets us on fire is different. Now, there are women here that have a masculine energy that is predominant, and there are women here who have feminine energy that is predominant. So no, Tammy, you can actually catch this. It is okay. So if you have a masculine energy that's predominant, it's possible that you're going to listen to this training and you'll be like, I resonate with the man's side of this. Oh my gosh, Melissa, I'm so happy you're here. So if you resonate more with the masculine side, that's okay. Ask yourself, does your man tend to resonate more with the feminine side? If you're single, you can play around with old boyfriends that you've had, old partners that you've had. Does this apply? Does this not apply? And with yourself in relationships, maybe you were more feminine in some relationships with a certain partner, and then other partners brought out a more masculine energy. There is nothing right or wrong about any of this. This is just a map into feminine and masculine energy and what the desires are in that energy. So what's a desire? What is a desire? A desire is something that pulls you in a way that just, it's not just a want. It's not just like that flat, like, yeah, I want, a vanilla ice cream. A desire is like, it's linked to pleasure. When you receive the desires of your heart and of your soul, it is pleasurable. When you desire your man and you guys have this moment of like passion, that is a delicious, delectable moment. It's much richer than a want or a need, although those things do apply sometimes. Why do men and women have such a difficult time getting along? Why is it that I can't get through to you? Like, it seems so clear. If you loved me, you would do this. It just only makes sense. If you loved me, you would want to do blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that doesn't even compute in my mind. So one of the biggest dualities is the masculine energy is a more logical energy. And the feminine energy is a more feeling, sensing energy. Now, men love being in the feminine energy when it's in power, because it's so magic. It's flowy, it's sensual, it's all these beautiful things that they're not. But they are terrified of it when it's out of power, because it's like a ticking time bomb. Like, what's gonna happen next? There's no logic or rhyme or reason to this. It's just gonna blow. That is a scary thing. Women love men's strength and thought and logic. We love that they figure things out and they're so smart, except when it's out of power and they're trying to fix our feelings with their logic and we're like, stop it. So it's not always good. And it doesn't make sense, because it's what turns us on to the opposite sex, and then it's what turns us off from the opposite sex. So there are three main dualities of desire. So men want to feel safe. So safety for men is like a big part of the duality. And it's so funny to say that men want to feel safe, because so often, if you were to ask, who do you think is the person who wants to feel safe the most? Is it the man or it's the woman? It's the man who changes the most when he doesn't feel safe. When a woman doesn't feel safe, she tends to gain force or power. When a man doesn't feel safe, he loses it. You'll notice women gain extraordinary force in moments of unsafety. They'll be stronger than they've ever been, louder than they've ever been. Men, something happens. It's the opposite. What women really desire, now again, remember there is need and want, which are not quite the same as desire. A man desires safety. That is sexy to him. I want to put you here and you will never leave me. And I'm going to marry you and it's going to be great. Or I am never marrying anybody. I'm not letting anybody close to my heart. This is my heart. I am not going to let it. I'm a playboy. This is it. That's all. They have different ways of handling it, but their safety and well-being is so important to them that they tend to be very cautious. Now, women, we want surprises and we want variety and we want this whole other feeling of like, wow me, I want to experience life. Now, men have this also, but women desire it. In this new era, where women and men can work from wherever they want in the world, all the coaches that are popping up all over the place, most of them are women. All the network marketers that are popping up all over the place, most of them are women. The men are still getting the corporate jobs and the women are going, what? I can work from my couch in Barbados? Sign me up. I'm going right now. So we want to be blown away by this life. And that is one of the things that comes with all our feelings of all the world, the senses, the smells, the tastes, we want to experience all of it. We want it in an elevated experience. We want to see the world, and we want to be surprised, and we want to feel the butterflies. So we want that feeling, and they prefer the chill feeling. Now, there are times, like when you're in your moon, when you're in your period, that you may not want to be wowed. You want to sit on the couch, watch Netflix, and eat Doritos. That's totally different vibe. But the calling of your soul is freedom. Whereas a lot of times for men, the calling of their soul is a really great 401k, a retirement plan, and their house paid off and their truck paid off. So what happens is that, why is that? There's a difference in emotional intelligence in both. So let's just see what Margot says. My boyfriend isn't down with the RV life. I've even told him about several ways he can make money this way. Yep. Alex wants Netflix and you want to be surprised. Then he says, this is so me and my partner. He's happy 9 to 5, chill in the afternoons. And I'm like, let's go see the world. So this is what's happening. You live in the world in an emotional place. I read yesterday, women desire, I like the look of this sentence. Women desire to be the sovereign of their life. Ooh, I love this. I love this. So because we're emotional beings, we want to live a life that feeds into our magic. We want a life that feeds into our magic. And they want a life that keeps them safe. Now, how do we get what we want if that's the case? Christina's like, too bad I'm not a lesbian. Even that wouldn't work because there's always a masculine energy and a feminine energy person in every relationship or else they implode. So there's always one person that wants safety and one person that wants surprises. So how do we handle that? Here's what happens. The reason we attract each other, the reason this polarity works is because we make them feel like they want to experience the magic. It feels safe to experience it with us. This is the magic key, the secret sauce, the incredible thing is that you, the woman, me as a woman, we have a power that they don't have. This mystical, magical magic that we have, when they feel safe with us, they want to access it. But when they don't feel safe with us, they call that mystical, magical magic crazy. So you will notice when men and women split up, at the end, they'll say the guy was a jerk and the woman was crazy. That's always the end. He was an asshole. She was nuts. She was a bitch. She was off the wall. Psycho. She was psycho. He was an asshole. Why is it always like that? Because he doesn't understand our sensuality and emotion. It's not definable by logic. So it's actually very unsafe unless we've mastered it. Our emotional mastery is the key to him enjoying what we're doing instead of being afraid of it. Now, who here, just out of curiosity, has ever experienced that when they were starting to date someone, they were very different emotionally, like things didn't make them angry, so many things could just slide off. You would be like laughing at all the jokes, lighthearted. Even maybe he told you about his ex-girlfriend that was away and you were like, what? Oh my gosh, she was terrible. I'm not like that, right? Just think back to the beginning of a relationship. Everyone's like, yes! The beginning of a relationship where it's so easy to be cool. Now, when you're cool in the beginning of a relationship, you are still magical and sensual and all the things, but he feels safe. Demi, even if you tell him you're crazy, if he doesn't experience you being crazy, if he doesn't feel that, he feels safe. So in the beginning of a relationship, the magic, always continue to do what you did in the beginning. But it's hard because the oxytocin is through the roof in the beginning. We're so leveled. We're so happy. In the beginning, who we're being is this mystical creature that experiences joy and pleasure all the time, doesn't crash, doesn't freak out, just is. And he can't get enough of it. He accesses the world in a completely different way with us in the beginning, to the point where maybe in the beginning he talked about dreams with you. Maybe in the beginning he actually showed interest in some of the things he's now not interested in anymore, because it was safe back then and it is not anymore. If you can't even be held together at home, what's he going to do with you on a road trip in an RV? He's going to leave you on the side of the highway. He doesn't want to handle, he doesn't want to be, it's not safe. He doesn't want to experience that. So he's saying, no, let's stay here where I'm safe, where I'm grounded, where it's safe. Christina says, I'm not making oxytocin as much. And guess what? Alex and I have been fighting, trying to find new ways to make oxytocin. Yes, yes, yes. Margot says, yes, I'll kick him out, and he knows it. So here's the magic. The same works in the opposite. His logic is so great in the beginning. You watch him be all organized. You'll notice things about him that he does that you think are so cute. You know, you may even let him coach you a little bit. Like if ever something's happening, he'll give you his advice and you'll be like, you're so smart. You'll ask him questions and he'll answer and it won't offend you because you're not, you know, you're cool. If he talks about an old girlfriend, you're cool. Everything's cool. You can listen to him. He listens to you. It's all cool. Aaron says, Andy saw my crazy towards others, and that made him feel safe. He knew I would protect him and myself under any means necessary. Now, this is an interesting thing. What crazy means is not losing it or being mad. What crazy means to a man is when a woman is completely out of emotional intelligence and trying to tell him it's his fault. That is what crazy is. I am losing my cool. I'm losing my power. I've completely I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm all these things, and it's your fault. When he has done nothing to upset you in his mind, he loves you, he didn't do anything wrong in his mind, you're crazy. That's when you're crazy. So emotional intelligence is so important because it's what helps you take control of your feelings again. So Aaron's like, well, that changes things, doesn't it? Now I do act crazy. Yikes! I'm going to push things to the portal from now on. This is why we've got to drop things into our portal so that our mind can be clear. Because in the beginning, our mind doesn't get clouded like that. That doesn't happen. You don't start to tell a guy how everything's his fault on the first date. You start telling him how his ex-girlfriend was so crazy for saying anything was his fault because he's so sweet. And you're listening to all his stories about all the ex-girlfriends that were so wrong. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so far from me. I can't even imagine doing that to him, this poor guy. Fast forward 4 months. You're crazy. Are there other techniques other than the portal? You can just breathe. Just breathe. Just be aware of yourself. Nothing is anybody else's fault. You may be triggered by what someone said, but your reaction is never his fault. If you're screaming, that's not his fault. If you're pouting, that's not his fault. If you're locking yourself in your bedroom, that's not his fault. If you're not speaking to him anymore, that's not his fault. Nothing is his fault except what he said bothered you. Everything else is your reaction. So if you're not able to just look at what happened and say, I'm realizing I'm really upset by what just happened and I need a second. Everything out of that, everything above that, all the crazies, that's all on us. Our lack of self-control. Diane says, I was so emotionally intelligent today with my favorite ex. I'm exhausted, so glad I'm single. So Courtney says, Caleb hurt me badly yesterday. I dropped it in the portal and went to the post office besides fighting. He apologized when I got home, and he said he'd work on it without me saying anything. If he knows he said something wrong, he will take responsibility for it. If he doesn't know he's done something wrong, you yelling at him is not going to enlighten him. I'm going to be teaching you a way of communicating that's going to help you in those situations later on, but the key here is that your feelings are yours. And although he may trigger you, you combusting is your responsibility. He can say things that bother you, but guess what? It's not his job to put you right. It's not his job to make you happy. He was not put on this planet to make sure nothing he says triggers you. He has a brain and he has words, and sometimes what he says is not going to be perfect. And it's going to bug you. Yeah, it will. How are you going to handle that? That's not his responsibility. And when we start to believe it's their responsibilities, when we start taking them for granted, and then that's when we start to act crazy. So we're going to learn a lot of self-responsibility here. And if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, but he does drive me crazy, then you need to really look at two things. Number one, if he triggers you constantly and it's toxic, get out of the relationship. Because then you're staying in a relationship that's toxic. That's also your responsibility. Can you see, like, he can make a mistake? I'm just going to ask you, just out of curiosity, for you and for the women on the replay. If you said you were going to show up for this round and you know you haven't shown up exactly how you intended, you had an intention. If you showed up even like this much less than you intended, say yes. Even if it was just like this much, look at all the yeses. Does this mean that you don't love me? That I'm not good enough? Because I asked you if you were going to give me 100% and you said yes. I could show you in the welcome. You said it. I have evidence. And then you lied to me. How am I supposed to trust you? And you lied to me. Now this is crazy when I say it. However, these are all things you've probably said before. You said we're asking them to have a standard that we don't even live by, just so that we don't have to be upset. You had said that you were going to be here at 7 and I had made the dinner and now it's cold and you're mean and it means you don't love me and we're done. You had said, remember, you had said we were going to hang out together this weekend. Remember? You said that. And then you made plans with your friends and now you don't love me anymore and now that's it. Remember? We make so many things mean so many things, but we're not perfect. Rachel's like literally my words last week. You're so stinking cute. So when we're so pitiful because he did something that we didn't want him to do, or he said something that we didn't want him to do, there's a little bit of hypocrisy involved if we believe that his sole job on the planet is to make sure that we're happy, because it's not. That's our job. That's only his job when he enjoys it. When he loves it, he'll take on that job. When he doesn't, he won't. It's not his job to make us feel good. It's our job. Now there's the next level. I can't repeat this stuff, Nikisha. I'm channeling all of this. My brain is like a barbecue shish kebab at this point. It's literally being divinely downloaded because the brain itself is like, so there's no way I can repeat a word I'm saying. I apologize, but you can catch the replay. Perfect. Let me see if I've missed some comments over here. Melissa said, what's the outcome you want? What you're about to say, will it serve you? Deliver your message in goddess mode. I love that. Demi says, I always try to take responsibility for every situation and ask myself, what I can take from the situation. I used to just fly off in temper. That's huge. Nikisha says, when David told me he was not responsible for keeping me happy, I was like, damn you sexy. Hashtag Twom life. Twom is life. I love it. So David is in Kevin's Word of Man program. And he told Nikisha, it is not my responsibility to keep you happy. She was like, shit. All right. That's all right with me. Erin says, this has been my problem lately. When I think about it, he doesn't do anything wrong. I'm flying off the handle over nothing. Oh gosh, I want to hug him now. Yep. Shouldn't we be able to transform the relationship? We can transform anything, but it starts with us. This is the big secret. It starts with us. Demi says, where do you draw the line of standards? Like if someone's always canceling or late, isn't it a problem for me? I'm just curious. The standard or the boundary is if I'm not happy being in a relationship with someone who can't be on time, then I'm going to leave the relationship. At this point, there's a communication that needs to come into play where you really establish a boundary, but boundaries don't matter if you don't honor them. Boundaries do not matter if you do not honor them. So when you put a boundary down, you got to be ready to actually not cross that line. So very soon in the program, you're going to learn how to communicate in a way that's going to help you if you want to set a boundary. But for now, we're not even talking boundaries. We're just talking emotional reactions when we know it's not even a boundary. We know we're not even putting our foot down. We're just whining and complaining, and this happens so much. How do you move past the self-hate when you want to do better and you don't? If you look at how many times you've self-hated and it hasn't worked, this would be a really great opportunity to realize it doesn't work. And then you let it go. Lenny is channeling from the divine dimensions. Yes. Yes. It doesn't work ever, so might as well change our strategy. So there's another part of this. What happens when it starts with you being hurt by what they've said or done, and then in trying to take responsibility, they start giving the impression, then in trying to take responsibility, they start giving the impression it was all your fault. So this again is all in the mind. This doesn't exist. This is on a plane that is so not our empowered self. Like if this is really the conversation you're having, like you did something to upset me and now you're trying to apologize, but even in your apology, it feels like you're not apologizing. This is not the heightened self. So what I'm going to teach you here is communication, where if it feels like that's happening, you would literally be able to say, I'm going to stop it right now because I'm feeling myself get angry. This is not what I need to hear right now. So give me a moment. In emotional intelligence, not perfection. Knowing yourself, I'm getting angry. I need to take a second. I'm getting angry. I need to drop this in my portal. I'm getting angry. I need to breathe. I'm getting angry. Instead of I'm getting angry, let's have this conversation. Because now I'm really mad and I love it. Let's get mad at each other. Yes. Drop it like it's hot. So there's another duality. The next duality is significance, like fame almost. The feeling that you are so important, that you are the only most important, like, oh my goodness, you are like, wow, blown away, impressed, and love, solid love. Lust and love. So often we would think, who's the one that craves the love? You'd think the woman probably craves the love. No, she doesn't. She craves the butterflies. I've known women who've wanted to leave their marriages just because they can't feel the butterflies anymore. Not because he's not a good man, not because he's not a good dad, not because he's not handsome, not because he hasn't worked hard for years, because the butterflies are gone. Who here's ever thought, this relationship has to be over, I don't feel butterflies anymore? Who's ever let the butterflies, she's like, hello, me? Sandra Lee's raising her hand. It doesn't feel the way it used to feel. Who has ever said to their partner ever in their life, it just doesn't feel the way it used to feel? It used to be like so romantic. And then the crazy thing is when you ask a woman when her favorite part of the relationship is, in a functional relationship, in a good relationship. Okay. In a good relationship, a healthy relationship that works, you ask the woman, when was the best time in the relationship? And she will say, the beginning, the first kiss. And the man will say, now, or the wedding day. Because the woman falls in love with the butterflies, the magic, the surprises, which all happen in the beginning. And the man falls in love with the safety and the stability that comes way later. The butterflies feel like they're like about to vomit. That's not fun for them. They don't enjoy that. We like it. Who here in their teenage years has ever broken up with a guy just to upset him so that there would be a fight, so that he would cry, so he would beg you not to leave? And then you would like create this whole drama. I don't know. Maybe I need to just leave. And he's like, don't do this to me. And then the more he cries, the more you're like, yes, I must go. Put your coat on slowly. You leave the door while he's like begging you to stay. And you feel 20 feet tall. And you're like, this is awesome. I'm going to keep this in my back pocket. It totally works. Destroying boys' hearts. Why do you do that? Because in the moment where he's telling you, I can't live without you, I can't breathe without you, those are things he hasn't said in months, years. But now he's pulling out all the romance. I'll die, I'm suffocating, there's so much pain, don't leave. Say more. As I twist the knife inside your broken heart. Evil woman. Margot says, I have not started relationships with great guys because there were no butterflies. Hindsight 2020. All right, I'll stay. Hashtag. Oh my gosh, that's awful. I didn't realize that was a thing. Oh yeah, it's totally a thing. So there are women out of wanting to feel lusted over, like you're the most beautiful. And what happens when you almost break up with a guy? The next like week or two, what's he like with you? Like the most it's like the beginning again. He was so afraid of leaving you. Sex is magnetic. He tells you you're beautiful every second. He tells you you smell good. He's like opening all the doors for you, taking out for dinner, buying all the things. Because he's afraid you're going to leave him. And he's all jittered. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And he's like, this is hell. This is living hell. I can't wait for things to go back to normal. And we're like, I hope things never go back to normal. Then things go back to normal. He's like, oof, thank God. And we're like, oh, I need to break up with him again. It worked last time. So we want the lust. They just want the love. They just want to be loved and feel loved. This is where this causes a problem. When you get mean and mad in a stable, sturdy relationship to try to create some sort of magic or some sort of something, he feels unsafe and unloved. You feel lusted for, he's lusting over you. You feel significant and important. You feel like there's a little bit of spiciness happening. Like when you ignore his calls because you're mad at him and you storm out of the room. He feels unloved and unsafe. Margot says, I've stayed in this relationship trying to get over that, and now it's been 4.5 years. Yep. And Rachel says, why do men stay after they feel like we've been mad for years? Because they love us. Men are actually way more loyal than women are as far as love goes. Unfortunately, sexually, there are issues. Some men stray, but you know what? Women stray. I just think men are worse at getting caught. I think women cheat just as much. They just don't get caught. Men don't expect it's going to happen. Women fear it all the time. I really believe it's just as bad. But men are more loyal emotionally than women are. The women are usually the ones to say, I want a divorce. The men are the ones who don't want that. The women are usually the ones in the stable relationships that run for the hills while the men beg them to stay. That's usually how it goes. Demi says, chasing assholes when I was young. Now it makes sense. I was actually loving the instability. Yeah. Nikisha says, it took a minute for me to get back into the nook. I'm so appreciative now. I think we made it more complicated. Could not get rid of Don. We create our own stories. Mel, you're the truth. Men are more loyal. I'm the lever. Women are the one who crave magic and more. What if there's men? What if there's a hotter man out there? What if there's a richer man out there with a six-pack abs that's gonna fly me to Spain? Where's my Christian Grey? So that's who I want. Christian Grey. Demi says, this program is literally teaching me that everything I thought I knew is backwards. That is the best thing you could have ever possibly said in all of the world. Because that's exactly what I felt when I understood this stuff. I was like, no wonder my stuff has not been working. Holy guacamole. Everything's backwards. So while I'm there trying to like seduce my boyfriend, thinking I've got to pretend that I'm having the time of my life orgasms when I'm not having them, pretending that I'm all this dressing sexier than I feel, pretending I think he's the most, sexy, pretending. All he really wants is for me to just be normal and love him and stop being mad. That would have saved everything. Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor guy. Levers unite. I want a really nice dancer, like a guy that could make me swoon. Oh, I love that. Since I last took the goddess program, my relationship got 10 times better. That's amazing. I wanted the divorce back then, and then he eventually threw the divorce papers at me and said, then you fill them out if you want this. I'll just sign. That just gave me chills. That's exactly what it is. Like, if you want to give up on us, fine. I'll let you leave, but you're the one who's going to leave. I'm not going to leave. Rachel. I used to pride myself in being a leaver, but it's really not cute. I want to feel something again. Really feel it. Yes. Yes. Women are the levers. Women are the levers. My relationship is getting better every day since I started this. He even mentioned it to me. That is huge. So it's not emotionally intelligent. That's what it's not. It's trying to create something with circumstances instead of actually being in charge of your feelings. Emotional intelligence means I can be in charge of my feelings regardless of the situation or circumstances. They don't immediately just boot me out of my power. Justine says, but yet he was the one who already had another woman once we were legally separated. Of course, because sex is a totally different thing. If you give up, he's out. The minute you give up, he's out. And that is something that we've got to realize. Like, women, we leave them, but we are hoping that they're going to be in pain for a long time and they're never going to forget us. That's what we hope. Him, he's like, she doesn't want me anymore. I'm done. Next. They move on faster than we do, but they don't give up as fast, if that makes sense. And when I say move on, I mean move on to someone else, not necessarily get over us, because they can be with someone else and still think about us, and that's just another story. Alex told me today, I'm fine. You are the one that keeps making a big deal. Yeah. That's what happens. This is what happens. So now, there's a last duality. And Sick Mel performs. Thank you, Nikisha. Every time I do this, the women are like, this one is the best one yet. And I do it again. They're like, this one is the best one yet. Then I do it again. This one is the best one yet. So every time I do it, you guys, it's even better. My ex had pictures of me in his room when his now wife and him started dating. Oh my gosh, my ex still thinking about me. I see those damn wandering eyes. Yep, they do. So the last duality is doing things together and doing things separately. Our desire is to do things together. Let's do it together. Gym buddies, anybody here need to go to the bathroom? Let's go to the bathroom together. Let's do all the things together. Diane's ex-husband has a picture of her naked above his bed. Holy guacamole. That is pretty intense. I want David to talk to me in the boudoir. I love that. My ex always call me later down the road after we break up. Yep. My ex had pictures of me in his room. Oh yeah, I already read that one. Oh my goodness. So here's the thing. You want to do things together. He would prefer to just do his own thing. He wants to come home and he wants to have downtime. When he walks in, he wants to sit down and open the TV and completely just, he wants you there. Like, I'm gonna post a video to the group that's gonna make you laugh your little tiny cute butts right off. This is gonna be so funny. I just remembered a comedian who is the funniest. This is gonna be so good. You are gonna laugh till you pee, all of you. It's gonna be fabulous. I'm gonna be adding this. Okay, I'll be adding this video to the group later tonight. So I'll watch it on the toilet. Rachel, you're so funny. So here's the thing. Men want to be alone, but they don't want to be by themselves. They want to be alone, but they want you there while they're alone. They want you sitting right there while they do something that's not involving you. Right next to me, and don't be on your phone. Like, be here. Just don't talk to me. And be present while you're here. Just don't say anything. And then we're just like, let's do everything together. Why don't we just, it's Nikisha, now who's batshit crazy. We're just like, why don't we go for a walk? No. You know what we should do? We should go to a something class, or we should do blah, blah, blah. Or we should talk more. Let's talk. Let's go out together. Let's do something together. We should do it together. We should start a business together. Here's the thing. You're crazy. He doesn't want to do anything with you. You're nuts. He loves you. You're also batshit crazy. He wants you to figure it out on your own first. The most difficult thing, the hardest one, is let's do Melanie's Alpha Femme and Kevin's Word of Man together. Ah! Right, great idea. He's like, no. Why? Because this is round 4 and you're still crazy. That's why not. It doesn't work. You're still nuts. So when you figured your shit out, then maybe I'll go. In the meantime, you're still nuts. This is why he doesn't want to do things together. He wants you to go figure yourself out. And if it works, then he'll come and do it as well. Unfortunately, a lot of you, a lot of us, a lot of all the things, doesn't happen overnight like this. You've been who you are for 20, 30, 40 years. It's not just going to change like that. So, alpha communication comes into play, and I'm going to teach you how to use it. Lord help us all, so true. They want me sitting, watching him watch football. Oh yes, that's Nick. Look at the wall, but sit next to me, please. Yes, Alex wants me to watch TV, or wants to watch TV with me, gets mad when I do my pen or puzzles or stuff. Yeah, Talk to me, pay attention to me, says Whitney. And then you get one-word answers. Yep. Bring excitement. Take a dancing class, a cooking class. Bring the joy. I was like, let's take a day trip to the coast this weekend. Still waiting. I'm the weird one because I prefer to do things on my own. So you have more of a masculine energy, or there's something that's an issue in the current relationship. Do you like to do things with your friends, or is it just in your relationship that you like to do everything on your own? I made my man take it with Kevin. Who was Kevin? Still crazy. You want me to do what? Can we crash all our men with Kevin on a desert island? Have you been listening to Tom and I? Have you been listening to Tom and I? Doesn't it just seem like it? He loved it. He learned a lot. I'm relating to the masculine. It's okay to be relating to the masculine, but this is where you have an opportunity to really show up for yourself in your feminine energy. I'm the masculine in most of these situations. Fix your nuts before trying to fix others' nuts. Oh my gosh. Diane, with the last thing about alone time with him sitting there, I was surely the masculine one. My boyfriend wants to work 24/7, then sleep, and he wants to eat meals with me. I've told Alex I'm going to throw the TV away. I need alone time too, but on a date night, it would just be wonderful. I understand. So, I'm still on top. So here's the big thing. You will want to feel, or you'll want to be alone if you don't feel connected to him. When you first start dating a man, you think about him every second. It's like everything reminds you of him. The songs on the radio, smells, different restaurants, this outfit that you were on the first date, like everything reminds you of him. You want to spend as much time with him as possible, and you wish he wanted to spend every waking minute with you as well. He feels like you're needy in the beginning. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want you to want to spend all your time with him. He wants to chase you. So it's not just something that happens later in the relationship. It's something that happens early on in the relationship. And by the middle of the relationship, if you're finding yourself to be more in the masculine energy and you're more like, just leave me alone right now, I need some alone time, I want to work on my business, I've got stuff to do, it's because it's gotten to a point where he is annoying you. And that's a different story. Usually, these things that I'm talking about in a good relationship where you're completely in love. This is what the desires are. Demi says, our roles are definitely backwards. He's always been the one who wants to be linked to my hip. Hashtag, I'm the dude. And Melissa says, question, I spend a lot of time with my man. We don't like to be without each other. Is that bad? No. It is not at all. That's so funny. We don't live together. No, this is perfect. And you know what? They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. So like when you're not, you don't have to be together, you want to be. It's like that reverse psychology thing that starts to happen. I don't have to be with you, so now I want to be. So no, it's not bad at all. And it could be like that forever, and it could change. Kevin and I love to be together. But our energy just works, and we understand each other very well, and we navigate things so well that it just feels great. He's my partner. He's my best friend. He's everything. I love spending time with him. But then I also like us to be apart just a little bit so that, you know, we miss each other. But like now I just can't wait for him to get back. I'm dying. I'm like, where is he? I miss him so much. So, okay, so good. It is not bad. It's not bad at all. You navigate your relationship the way it feels good. That's the magic key. Do you feel good in your relationship? So these three dualities are so important because the bottom line is you may want things and he wants the opposite. And you think, well, if he loved me, then he would run after me. No, because if you're running away from him after being married for 20 years, he thinks you don't love him anymore. That feels unsafe. He's out. There's a psychology that's different for men than for women. He might say, why the hell is she leaving me after 20 years of marriage? Why would she expect me to run after her? If I'm leaving, if I left her, it would be because I didn't love her anymore. So if she doesn't love me anymore, I'm not going to go run after her. Like, I'm not stupid. Have my heart broken like that? Like, I'm not going to do that. That's not safe. That's the differentiation in psychology. Demi says, I'm glad you said that because everyone tells us we're together too much, but it's what we like. 2.5 years later, stronger than ever. Yes, yes, yes. That is awesome. And people who say that you spend too much time together are people that would tear each other apart if they spent that much time together. They're just telling you what their experience is. My boyfriend says, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't still be here. That's something only men, I think, say. A woman would very rarely say that. That's like the most basic, what? Like, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be here. What do you mean? I want you to ride on a white horse through like dragon zones to get me out of an ivory tower. That's love. Being here, that's just like you're sitting there. I'm not impressed with that. But they value love over lust. He doesn't care about you pulling all the tricks and showing up and doing all the crazy things if at the end of the day you're going to leave. He didn't care about that. He wants love, not lust. The Prince Charming who goes to save the princess, just think of this. The Prince Charming who goes to save the princess doesn't even know her. It's like, I've never met you, or I've kissed you once while you were passed out. That's how well I know you, and I'm about to go kill myself in shark-infested, dragon-infested forests and waters to go save you from a witch that might kill me because obviously your kiss was intoxicating when you were asleep. It's just completely warped. It's not love, it's lust. The princess is hot. That's what's happening. The princess is hot, and he's horny because she's the only princess in the story, and that's it. He doesn't love her, he doesn't know her. So men don't see that as love. We see that story and we're like, it's true love. It's love at first sight. They're like, that is a whole bunch of crap. I'm not going to slay dragons for you. I'm going to be here while you complain. That's love. I'm going to stay here while you're nuts. How about that for love? They have a very different feeling of what love is. We're like, we want passion and magic and butterflies and all the things. They can't even imagine that if their bases aren't covered. And we can't imagine loving deeply unless ours are covered. This is the biggest thing. So Brianna says, I often wonder about how much space to give a man who seems to want to spend a lot of time together. So they still feel like they still feel like they're chasing without it feeling like a game. My gut says just go with the flow. Thoughts? Go with the flow. There is no ratio. It's like when you're giving into, it's like how many cookies is too many cookies? You can sit down and eat an entire row of Oreo cookies. That's overkill. You could also just eat one knowing you definitely want a second one. What's the right amount of cookies? You just don't want to overdo it. Like keep some magic. Don't eat the whole row. Then you feel a bit sick after. You're like, I shouldn't have eaten the whole row. That's awful. If you eat less, you're like, oh, but if you just take one little bite of cookie and then you put it back, then it's like, oh, you didn't like the cookie? No, I love the cookie. And you didn't even eat one. What's wrong with you? You send the wrong message. Perfect ratio of cookies. I love cooking and taking good care of my man. Could that be considered mothering? He does just take just as good as care of me. So it could be considered mothering, and we are going to go more into that later in the conversation, but it's only considered mothering when you're doing it out of an energy of wanting to take care of him. Like, not from a place of love, but from a place of there's something wrong. Like, I'm doing this for you. If you do it because you enjoy it, like I'm doing it for us, this is my way of loving, that's one thing, but I'm doing it for you, I'm taking care of you. That usually has the wrong vibe. It's got more of a masculine tone, and we will get more into this soon. Like, I need to be doing it because you can't or you won't. Exactly. That's a different story. I do it because it's fun and I love him. So you're good. Yes. So the thing with the dualities of desire is once you understand that you want different things than your partner needs, or you desire different things than your partner does, and he desires different things than you do, You'll understand why he does different things and why he responds to the things that you do in a way that you may not necessarily understand. The bottom line is this: when we feel connected through magic and butterflies and compliments and lust and surprises and flowers and all these things, we access love. When they feel loved, they access the flowers, the surprises, and all the incredible things. So your goal is to love him the way he wants to be loved, and to receive love the way that you receive love. But you've got to love him the way he wants to be loved. And that is the biggest thing, because when you start to love him the way he wants to be loved, he will love you the way you want to be loved. The biggest mistake we make as women is we say, I gave him everything. But you didn't give him everything. You gave him everything you wanted to give. You loved him the way you wanted to be loved, and it didn't work. That's so different than you gave him everything he needed. Because if he got everything he needed, he'd be there. I did everything. I tried everything. I tried everything I knew to try. I tried everything I wanted to try. I gave everything I wanted to give. I did everything I would have wanted to have. That is the truth. So this is a perspective shift, that what he wants is not necessarily what he's getting. Can you have both sides of the duality existing in them at the same time? You can, like you can flip-flop. Sometimes he's more in his feminine, sometimes you're in your masculine, but there's always the pull between you. When one is reacting one way, the other one is reacting the opposite. So this is so important moving forward for the rest of this program, because it's not just about being right, which is what so many of us fight for some reason. I want to be right that I gave everything. I want to be right that I tried everything, instead of, what's the one thing I missed? The thing that would have really made a difference. The thing he was craving me to say or do. That's great, Nikisha. Diane says, I thought I was giving him what he wanted. I was giving him what I wanted him to give to me. That is huge. Josephine says, like, he doesn't always want to do the things together, but if we don't do it together, he doesn't end up doing it at all. It is very possible that he doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, what are the things? Maybe he doesn't want to do it. So then you do it. And then if he's not doing it, let him figure that out. Margot says, so I'm happy being at home alone all the time and no date nights. He will marry me? But if that's how it's going to be, I don't want to get married. Samantha says, except if I bake cookies for you, you may be crushing on me like crazy. Maybe. Okay, so here's the thing. If you want joy and magic in your life, your job is to give yourself that joy and magic. You have to romance yourself first. You have to treat yourself the way you're hoping, wishing, expecting him to treat you. Rachel says, so if we do things that we want the man to do to us, is that helpful for his man brain to understand what we want? No, not at all. It's like asking, gosh, it's like saying, no, there's nothing. It doesn't even make sense. Honestly, I'm trying to find an analogy for it, but no, it's because it's like giving them a hint. We would get that. Men don't. Business, work, exercising, healthy eating, all the things he says he wants, and then we plan out doing so. He has an integrity issue. And this would probably require alpha communication, and it would require maybe for you to have your own standards that don't go below, but you can't help him do those things unless he's going to do them. Margot says, I've taken myself out on nice dates, then he's relieved that I didn't ask him to do it. So hang on, there's another part to this. So men don't get hints. They get you exactly telling them what you want. So it looks like this. I want, let's say for example, my thing is I want to go dancing. I want to go dancing, then I've got to go dancing by myself. That's the first thing I've got to do. You go dancing and you have a blast. You come home, you say, I feel so good. We're going to talk about the feminine dialect that's coming, but I feel so good. I feel so good. I want you to come with me. If he says no, you cannot persuade him. Keep dancing though. Get a friend to go with you. Do it. You don't need him to be in every single one of your activities. If you're seeing a pattern where everything you want to do, he doesn't want to do, you may be in the wrong relationship. We don't have to look at that right this second. We don't have to be ahead of ourselves. You don't even need to communicate anything of the things that you learned tonight. Just have an open mind. Watch him be who he is. Before he was your man, he was someone's son. He is someone's brother, best friend, neighbor, employee. He's a whole bunch of people to a whole bunch of people. He's not just your man. He's got a whole life outside of that. Look at him, not just as a person who was put on this planet to please you, but as an actual human being that also has desires. What if he's embarrassed of dancing? What if he's so terrified he's going to look crazy that he just doesn't want that? What if he wishes and dreams that you would be the kind of woman who walks in and who's proud of him and who thinks he's hot and can't keep your hands off him or wants to hear about things and wants. What if he's got a whole idea of what he wishes a relationship was? Do you even know what he wishes for? So your goal, your homework over the next couple of days is to witness the duality. I'm going to talk to you about how to speak. I'm going to talk to you how to express yourself. We're going to talk about more stuff. This is just the surface. One step at a time into this. But if you can notice the dualities, you can stop thinking there's something wrong with him, because there isn't. There's a different desire in feminine energy. There's a different desire in masculine energy. And I'm going to have you watch something that's going to make you laugh so hard tonight. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to post it as soon as this is over. So go be aware of these dualities. Experience them over the next few days and post your experiences in the program. You take care of you. Treat yourself like a goddess. Take time for yourself. Be sensual. When you're getting frustrated, drop it in your portal. Don't start yelling at him because he said something that pisses you off. Relax, breathe. Enjoy yourself. Be more filled with joy and passion than anger and resentment. Just watch what starts to happen in your relationship when you start to feel like magic again. Because I guarantee he may have changed, but you changed too. You were like unicorn fluff and champagne when he met you. It was like, what is this mystical creature? It was like everything went in slow motion when you threw your head back laughing. You were just, there's something about you that was so infatuating, he couldn't get you out of his mind. Where did that woman go? So find her. We'll worry about him later. The biggest issue is not that you've lost him, it's that you've lost you. He doesn't just change. Men are in response. Thank you, Josephine. Men act in response to women. Women respond to the world and men respond to women. That's basically what happens in this world. So go be the kind of woman that you want to be. and let's see what happens next. So thank you for showing up. On the next call, I am going to be even better and even more alive and awake, and I'm so excited. This was way better. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you very soon. I love you, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Femme, fatale.